Kombucha. Hello. I thought I'd make a video on how I transplant my kombucha and bottle it up. I was going to show my dad how to do it because I'm moving away, but just decided it would be easy to make a video and then you can follow that and other people can as well if they want to. So, let's get going. First of all, kombucha is a good culture. Small traces of it are found in little bottles of Actimel and other things that try and cash in on this good culture thing. But this is the main source of where it comes from. It's a bacterial mushroom that lives in tea, essentially. Nothing more complicated than that. So you can get the mushroom, the culture, from various places online. You can have it given to you by a good friend, which is what happened to me, or you can get some or one on the number of exchanges that are popping up all over the place where people can, they'll just give you one, or you can trade something else for one. So, you know, it's encouraging to see those starting up as well, or so many of them. So the way I do it is I use conventional tea. Here's a plug for someone who's helped me a lot in life, Ceylon X, good channel. I use Ceylon tea, not green tea, just normal caffeine tea, and I use just your standard sugar. As long as it's not refined, as long as it says unrefined on it, then normal white sugar is fine to use. I know people who use brown sugar. My friend who gave me the kombucha to start off in the first place, they use green tea as well, but I prefer just conventional, the taste of it, conventional normal tea, caffeine. And the caffeine, I've read from a number of sources, is beneficial to the propagation and the encouragement of the culture growing. So that's what it looks like in its normal state, which is a mushroom floating on the top. Sometimes they sink to the bottom, and the rest of that liquid in there is just essentially tea. There's one there with the lid on. You don't close it off, it needs to breathe, and I just use some kitchen roll with an elastic band. So I've already made my tea. Add the sugar, which I add about 1/8 to whatever amount of tea that I make. So in this case, you know, there's just over 800 ml there. I put 100 ml of sugar in the bottom, added the tea bags, put the water in. Also, I forgot to mention water. You can't use tap water straight out of the tap. Not that I drink that anyway, because it's pretty dire for you, but the chlorine levels in it, and the fluoride and the estrogen and a whole host of things, but mainly the chlorine will just sort of kill the bacterial culture off. So you really need to sort of filter it properly, and not through a crappy Brita filter, or use natural mineral water. We fetch ours, as you can see from a previous video, from Malvern, and that's what we use. I boiled that up, added it in there, and need to let it cool a bit. And the trick is to get it a nice sort of warm temperature to transplant your kombucha mushroom to, because that encourages, that acts as an activator to encourage more growth. So I'm going to pause it there and then do the next bit, and see you in a minute. Right, back. Forgive mind shaving this as well. It's a busy week. Been a busy week. Got one of the cats interested already. Best to keep the cats out of the way when you're doing this. So I've, with clean hands, and incidentally not using chemicals, you know, like hand soap, washing up liquid, because that again kills off the culture in this. Just hot water, you know, kitchen towel, dry your hands. Scoop the cultures out, put them in separate bowls, and then just put, you know, the top sort of inch, 3/4 of an inch, not even that really, probably the top centimetre or so of tea back in with it, because that also contains a lot of the good cultures. I use a little egg cup just to sort of measure it out, ease, saves tipping it and spilling it and stuff, wasting it. And then what I do is I use a washed out, cleaned and sanitised wine bottles, gin bottles, which is always a good thing to reuse. And I use a small coffee machine filter off my cappuccino maker. It just sits in there, that just catches what you'll see is like the little bits of yeast and things that are in the bottom that you don't really want. They're beneficial to you, but I personally don't like them, so just gonna pop that down there for a sec. Let's try and catch a bit of this on the go. It's quite sticky as well for tea, but this little filter in here just makes it's a lot easier than fanning around with cheesecloth. If you've got a tea strainer, that's ideal. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to empty fill my bottles up, and then I'll show you the next stage in the process. See you in a minute. Right, I'm back. Bottled them up. See the froth? It's from the natural carbonation in the process. It's always prudent to leave a good gap at the top. One, because you need oxygen in the bottle for the carbonation if you like it fizzy. But whether you like it fizzy or not, if you don't, it could be prone to exploding. You get a lot of sort of carbonation forming in any way, and unless you're using specially adapted bungs that will blow off naturally, you could end up in the shit. So it was best to leave a gap. What I'll then do with those is my dad doesn't like fruit in his, but I put some sliced ginger and orange in mine, give it a good shake, and then I put it in a dark place for about another 3 or 4 days, which gives it a secondary carbonation. Adds a bit of fizz to it and then refrigerate it. You can let it go longer if you want, but it usually gets used before then. So from those 2 jars that you saw, that's how much I get, so 3 and a bit bottles, probably a bit more. I've just gone a little bit, sort of put an extra bit in there because I want to split these 2 mushrooms the next time I do this, so I can double my output and give some to some friends. So the next stage, so if I keep saying so, I'm gonna put the tea, which is lukewarm, into the jars. I'm going to put a splash of cider vinegar. Incidentally, I'd like to say a thank you again to Kill Bilderberg for recommending Somerset cider vinegar for my dad to control his indigestion issue, to stop him taking fecking Gaviscon. I got him a load of that, and he loves the stuff, absolutely loves it. That's some that I put in a bottle, and as you can see, because this apple cider vinegar has the same culture in it as well, you can see that a mother, same as my mushrooms there, my kombucha is formed in that. So I'm going to leave that in there for the moment because that makes the cider vinegar that I'm using far more beneficial. And I add a splash to each of the new teas that I'm setting off, just to give it that extra zing. Okay, so I'm going to put the mushrooms in. There. Put the tea in. What you're looking for is a temperature that's just lukewarm, right? You don't want it anywhere near hot. So on the scale, if 1's cold and 10 is how you have a cup of tea or coffee, you want it about a 3, right? And that'll be most beneficial to the culture. Also, I've found from experience that you want to top up your water a little bit first before you put the mushroom in, so it doesn't sort of batter it around a bit. The minimal contact they have, the better, obviously for bacterial reasons as well. So again, my hands are clean them before I started this, apart from touching the camera. Bang that in there, giving it a rather long tail. And that, bring the other one in. and it's not rocket science. You know, sometimes they sink to the bottom, sometimes they'll just sit normally like this. You don't have to be precise about it because they'll fall into place. So I'm going to bang some of this splasher cider vinegar in. Oh yeah. And what I'll do is I'll let that sort of settle until it cools down normally, and then I'll just top it up to a little bit more just so I can get the maximum amount. And then I'll cover it in, well, I'll cover it now because you want to keep fruit flies and other nasties out of it. And there you have it. Give that another 10 days in a dark place, and do the same thing again. So depending on how much you're using, every week or so, you get, you know, that much drink. You only need a small measure every day to sort of, you know, for it to be beneficial to your digestive system, beneficial to your immune system, gives you a zing, you know, helps your energy levels as well, especially if you're old or unfit or obese. So that's about it. That's the finished stuff. That's my stuff that I keep in the fridge. Again, I sort of strain that out when I just have a little glass using the same strainer, and it's beautiful. So I'll put all the relevant links in the information box below where you can get it, what you need as an estimate, but do your own research, see what suits you, and if you've got any questions, fire away. Take care, peace and love, bye. Just a couple of little tips that I've learnt from experience of doing this as well over the last few months. If you're going to put fruit in it, it's best to stick to citrus, orange, lemon, lime, and ginger. I wouldn't put, not that ginger's a fruit, mind, but I wouldn't start putting apple and a whole host of other things in because they break down a lot faster. You can always strain things out, but it's best to sort of not tamper with this too much because you don't want to destroy its beneficial composition. Another thing as well is, this isn't the best example because I've just transplanted this one, but this scoby, this kombucha mushroom will rise to the top, and it sits sort of, the top surface of it is smoother and more resistant than the underside. And what I've found, or what I've read and I've found, is that if you just use a wooden implement and just sort of touch it down a little bit underneath the level of the top of the tea every, you know, maybe twice in its 10-11 day process, it really is beneficial. It just adds that extra, it allows it to produce more of the beneficial culture. And just to reiterate, it doesn't like any chemicals, it doesn't like being touched by metal unless it's stainless silver, and particularly rubber and things, because it leaches the leaches from them, especially it'll wear down rubber seals, and it'll take the chemical composition of the rubbers and absorb it into itself, which you don't really want that inside you. We get enough of that inside us as it is. So peace and love, and I hope this has been some help to some of you. Take care, bye.